Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Ghoulfren Speaks. My name is Ghoulfren, and today we will be discussing corn dogs. And you're probably asking yourself, who is this Ghoulfren person? Why have they shown up on my feeds? Why are they coming out of the woodwork after so long, after 16 years? Well, my friend, today it's talk to you about corn dogs. Pretty much talk to you about whatever I want on this channel. This is the Ghoulfren channel. Ghoulfren Speaks. Welcome, one and all. So, where we begin with this journey of the corn dog. Let's start 1929 with German immigrants who came to the United States, particularly in Texas. They were having much resistance with the kinds of wieners they made, so in order to remedy the situation, they decided to put their wieners in batter and fry it. Now, the stick on a corn dog didn't come about until much later in the life of a corn dog. But as it turns out, US patents that were filed nearly 100 years ago, back in 1927, suggests that these sticks were added as some sort of apparatus for combined dipping, cooking, and holding, which does describe what the corn dog stick over here does. You see, and even then, it wasn't just for corn dogs. No. This patent applied to other kinds of foods that you could stick a stick into and dip batter into and fry. And with the invention of this neat little apparatus came about a frying machine. Or technically, baking machine. That you can bake the corn dogs in. Right? It was called the Krusty Corn Dog. And that appeared sometime around 1926, so a full year before the patent was put out, but that wouldn't be the end of the corn dog story. I am talking about the corn dog and not the apparatus that cooks corn dogs. That would probably be another video for another time if it isn't. If I'm not, making it. But see, this is one of the best inventions anybody could have ever made. Right up there with sliced bread and barbecue sauce, you know. Or a nice cool tall can of beer if you're a beer drinking person. It doesn't specify. However, who put the patent in for the holding apparatus? There isn't any specificity as far as I know. But a lot of people do claim responsibility for the invention of the corn dog. More notably, Carl and Neil Fletcher, having introduced their corny dogs in 1938. And then this is where you get all of the different naming conventions for corn dogs. See, because there isn't just corn dog. You don't just call them corn dogs. There's many different names to the corn dog. Like, for one thing, there's corn dogs with a K. Corny dogs, like what Carl and Neil Fletcher introduced at the State Fair of Texas in 1938 and 1942. Which the story about the German immigrants would make sense if it was them. I kind of put my 2 cents with them inventing the corn dog, but other people have, thrown their hats in the ring. Pronto pups, which were invented in 1939 by Pronto Pup, another name for a corn dog. Cozy Dog Driving claims to have been the first to serve corn dogs on sticks in 1946, and also in 1946. Dave Barham opened the first location of hot dogs on a stick in Muscle Beach, California. Muscle Beach. That is kind of the perfect market for corn dogs. I wouldn't be lying to you right there, But other names for corn dogs include Pluto Pups, named after the Disney character Pluto. Dagwood dogs, which are named after Dagwood, which to me kind of doesn't make sense since he's typically known for making those tall sandwiches. Let's see. Dippy dogs is also another name for them. Um, People in France call them sausage donuts. People in Japan call them American dogs, you know? So you got a lot of different naming conventions when it comes to what a corn dog is named, you know? And I could be missing something with the Dagwood dog. Place it in the comments below if you know exactly what that is, but I'm not too initiated with comics and things from back in those days. I'm not really a comic book kind of person. But, well, corn dogs. They're pretty popular around the world. Places like Argentina, where they call them panchuckers, which is, a waffle-like pastry, which consists of a sausage dipped in batter, same as a corn dog, you know. And these things are pretty popular around South America. If you know, you know. They're pretty popular, especially like in places where they speak English. Canada, obviously, since they're our northern neighbors. Let's see, Australia. They're very popular in Australia. They call them dippy dogs over there, which makes it sound a whole lot more fun, you know? Mm. In Australia, the UK, they're basically known for frying things like that. And New Zealand hot dog pretty much is the same thing, except could also mean anything from this to a Savoy. Which, if you know what a Savoy is, it can range from anything from deep fried fish, anything meat wise. But usually, like, it's for like fish and chips, essentially. You can get anything from this to that down there in New Zealand. South Africa, they're called Yankee dogs, or Yankees. South Korea, they're pretty popular, and they like to do a lot of fun stuff with their corn dogs, like cover them with crinkle cut fries, you know? In fact, that's like one of their more popular items is a French fry encrusted corn dog that you can buy from any street vendor that sells corn dogs. I'm not even gonna attempt to try and pronounce where you can get this at in South Korea, but you can get this in South Korea. They're called hot dogs. The French fry encrusted ones are called kogos. So if you're ever in South Korea and you have a hankering for a corn dog, you can always go for a kogo. And there is a National Corn Dog Day in celebration of corn dog, tater tots, and American beer that occurs the first Saturday of March Madness every single year, which absolutely makes sense. And it, you know what? It adds a icing to the top of this whole thing that I could never, justify with my own words. But preparing a corn dog should be self-explanatory. All you have to do is get some sticks, some hot dogs, make some waffle batter, stick those hot dogs in there, bing bang boom, drop it in a fryer, wait until it gets all golden crispy brown. And the kind of corn dogs that I was chowing down on were the Bar S honey corn dogs, and they are by far pretty delicious. If I do say so myself, one of my preferred, go-to options when it comes to corn dogs, especially. Yeah. If this has been a fun little informative video, I can do these things more regularly. So make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and the bell icon if you want to see more. Hit dislike if you dislike this video. I mean, hey, I can't make content for everybody, And make sure you stay tuned to more Ghoulfren Speaks. I'll see you guys in the next one.